beyond or goes beyond just being objectified as an object of pleasure. And that is why we have a lot of women participating today. So today is celebrating the work of the iconic Professor Irene Agunloye Salami, while also discussing issues surrounding participation and positioning of women in the theater. And I do know that one of the panelists here today, Dr. Abiola Adumati, who I happen to know kind of personally, by the way, is one of on the Duke of Shomolu Foundation project, which the Duke of Shomolu has termed unapologetically female. Okay, so the Duke of Shomolu this year has decided to concentrate on projecting the work of six very versatile theatre directors and producers, with Dr. Adumati happens to be one of them. Dr. Toyin Ogunledi, Bifani Ogunledi, is the HOD of the Department of Dramatic Arts at the Obafemi Awolowo University, is also one of them. I know that my dear friend, Dr. Kaya Adinuga, is also on that team, and three other women. Dr. Adumati is in the play, she wrote, and is directing the play titled Kokoro. And I'm sure she found a way to tear herself away from the hassle and be part of the roundtable today. When it is time, of course, I'll bring Dr. Adumati on. Please make time to see the play this Easter. Okay, I will talk about that more, but let's focus on the roundtable. I welcome you all today to the roundtable. Without much ado about nothing, it is important that we know who our panelists and our focus subject is or are today. So let me quickly do a reading of the bio of our panelists. Let me start. I don't know if Irene Salami is here. If not, let me quickly do a bio of the panelists. The other event says that I should do it now, but I have decided to use my discretion to do the honoree's bio when she has arrived online. I think Toby to please confirm. Toby or Quest to please confirm is Professor Agunloye is here with us.
Yeah, she's going to be joining. So she's going to be joining us shortly. She just mentioned to me that she's on transit and she hopes to join when she settles, but we can proceed.
Okay. I therefore will hold on the reading of her bio until she is here. But let me, Professor, let me do the bio of our panelists. Professor Paramalam is here, I presume. So I know Dr. Adumati is here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So I'll do the bio for Professor Olufunmilayo Paramalam of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, which is, by the way, an organization and institution I respect a lot. I still hope to go there one day. Professor Olufunmilayo Josephine Paramalam, MNI, is the Director of Studies at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, Kuru. He is a distinguished scholar and practitioner in development studies, gender policy, peace and security, and leadership development, holding a PhD in development studies from the University of Leeds, an MA in international law and diplomacy from the University of Georgia, and a BA Honours in French Portuguese from the University of East, with advanced studies in France. At NIPSS, he has served as institute orator, internal and external examiner, and trainer for senior executives, mentoring participants through policy strategy and leadership courses and specialized workshops. He has contributed to national policy development, including legislative budgeting, participatory development framework, and national security strategy. Professor Paramalam has led and collaborated on projects funded by USAID, PFID, UN Women, Action Aid, and the Ford Foundation, presenting research on gender budgeting, women's empowerment, peace building, and human rights at national and international forums. As National Coordinator of Christian Women for Excellence and Empowerment in Nigerian Society, he has spearheaded initiatives supporting survivors of violence, girls' leadership programs, the Safe Harbor Initiative for victims of gender-based violence, and the voice of visibility of women in peace and security programs across multiple states. Her work has been recognized with numerous awards, including the Ford Foundation International Fellowship, Cadbury Fellowship, African Peace Building Network Research Award, Evangelical Press Award, Women's Achiever Award, and Women's Rights Defender Award. Through scholarship, advocacy, mentorship, and community leadership, she is committed to advancing the spiritual, social, and material well-being of African women. And that's an overview of our panelists, Professor Olufumilayo Para Malam. But just before I bring her on, she was speaking on a general piece through theater for about 18 minutes. I don't know. I'd like to confirm if Professor Ahmed Yerima is online with us.
Hello, this is Professor Fumi Paramalam. I don't know whether you were asking me to confirm my presence, but I am here. Thank you very much.
Oh, man. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring you on soon, but I'm trying to confirm if Professor Ahmed Yerima is with us online.
Oh, okay.
Professor Yerima isn't yet with us. I think he's also in transit, so we are yet to confirm his actual situation.
Okay.
I'll let you know as soon as. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, we'll go on to the first discussion, the first panel discussion, which is Professor Olufumilayo Paramalam. She's going to speak on gender and peace through theater for the next 18 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me our distinguished Professor Olufumilayo Paramalam for our presentation. You're welcome, ma'am. Professor Paramalam, you're up, ma'am. Oh my. Perhaps she's having a bit of a difficulty. Professor Paramalam, are you still here with us, ma'am? Okay. I'm guessing that she's having a bit of a difficulty with some technical. Professor Paramalam? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if Professor Paramalam is not yet here with us, because I'm sure she's here, maybe she's having some tech difficulties here. Let's move on to the next panelist, Dr. Abiola Lubumi Adumati of the Adekunle Ajasin University. He is a distinguished Nigerian theatre scholar, dramatist, director, and academic. He holds a PhD in performing arts from the University of Ilorin. He is a senior lecturer and acting head of the Department of Performing Arts at Adekunle Ajasin University, Akumba Akoko, and also serves as the acting director of the Ajasin Varsity Theatre. Her work spans theatre and performance studies, play directing, gender studies, psychodrama, and drama therapy. Dr. Adumati has made significant contributions to both scholarship and practice, with publications exploring directing, aesthetics, adaptation, and performance interpretation, including studies and works by William Shakespeare and Stanley Oshofison. As a theatre director and playwright, she has directed numerous African and international productions commissioned by governments and institutions such as Shakespeare's Macbeth, Ngugiwa Thiong'o, J.P. Clark's White Revolt, Elechi Amadi's Pepper Soup, and Samuel Shakespeare's Many Colors Make the Tender King. He has also written and staged original works, including Ayama, Nikadara, Igbaoyoru, Calabash of Destiny, and Malukun. Many of our productions have been commissioned by governments and institutions, including a command performance in honor of Mashood Abiola. Beyond the stage, he actively uses theater as a tool for social impact, leading community-based initiatives on public health issues such as Ebola, mental health, and COVID-19 awareness. Through her teaching, research, and creative practice, she remains committed to mentoring the next generation of theater scholars and practitioners. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Abiola Adumati, the current head of the Department of Performing Arts at Agunloye University. Like I said earlier, she's directing one of the plays of the Duke of Shomolu project on apologetical women, titled Kokoro Hero, and he's currently putting up the play together, giving it artistic direction. It's going to be showing this Easter. Today, he's going to be speaking for the next 18 minutes on amplifying women's voices in theater. Please welcome with me Dr. Abiola Adumati. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Tolu Faburi. And every other person right there. My name is Abiola Adumati from Agunloye University. Am I starting my presentation right now? Mr. Faburi?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes,
okay, I'm presenting. That's okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, everyone. The title of my discussion is Amplifying Female Voices in the Theater. Permit me to start by asking a question, not just one, about 2 or 3 questions. And I hope by the time I'm through with this presentation, I would have found my answers. As we all know that theater has been defined by different scholars as the mirror of the society, and it is also defined as a profession or a practice that originated from the festival or ritual of Dionysus. And also, it has also been defined as a medium of cultural expression or a voice. So now my questions are, if truly theater is a mirror, whose face has it faithfully reflected? And whose has it blurred into silence? That's my first question. And if theater is a ritual, then who has been permitted to stand as a priest or as a medium or a storyteller of the collective soul? Then the third question is, if theater is truly a voice, whose stories rise in chorus or whose stories rise in action and whose truths are trapped in whispers beneath the stage? I believe that you've all heard the questions. You can start ruminating on them as I continue my presentation this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here presenting this afternoon not as a scholar alone, but also as a playwright who has wrestled with characters in the dark hours of creation, as a director who has shaped bodies and voices in rehearsal spaces, thick with tension and possibility. Therefore, I am presenting not just to tell you that I am a woman or that there are women out there, but to tell you that women voices in the theater need to be amplified. The voices of women, just like I asked, that whose voice rise in chorus, whose voice is trapped in whispers beneath the stage. Women's voices are trapped beneath the stage in the theater. The discourse on amplifying female voices in the theater emerges from a long historical marginalization. We all know that. Marginalization of women in dramatic literature, performance traditions, and theatrical institutions. Theater as a medium of cultural expression has traditionally privileged male authorship, that is male playwrights, male narratives, that is male stories, and patriarchal aesthetics. So female voices need to be amplified in the theater, not merely as an artistic, female voices, amplifying female voices in theater is therefore not merely an artistic concern, but a socio-political imperative aimed at interrogating these imbalances in order to achieve something. What are we achieving if we are amplifying female voices in the theater? We are achieving authenticity in performance spaces. We are achieving equity. We are also achieving recovery, representation, and recentering of women's voices on stage and in theatrical production. Let me quickly take us to history. You will agree with me that in the Greek theater, performances, women were not allowed to perform on stage. Even in Nigeria, let me use Nigeria as an example. During the Ogunde period, we all know that women who participated in Ogunde performances were not women who were proud of what they were doing. Most of them were Ogunde's wives and so on and so forth. Hence, there is a need for women voices to be heard. For instance, Mabel Eweroma, Irene Agunloye, and so many others have written so many articles concerning women's voices being marginalized, women's voice, works being marginalized, their place not being read enough, or as a matter of fact, not recognized. And performances about women, it's not just about performances, not just about their place, but issues that concern women, such as the issue of rape, issue of postpartum depression, issues that, issues that matters about women are not being discussed enough. Hence, there's a need for women to be allowed to write, women to be allowed to perform, women to be allowed to tell their own stories, and for these stories to be recognized. Hence, the female, for instance, Ezeigo, and you, excuse me, please, I just switched to another place. Let me quickly go to, sorry, give me some time. So why do we need, that is importance of amplifying female voices for representation and for visibility. If we amplify female voices, it will ensure that women's experiences, like I said, that issues that concern women can only be told by women, not by men, because you cannot feel like a woman if you're a man. Only women can tell what they are going through. Only girl child can tell what she's going through. Hence, there is a need for visibility. There is a need for representation. Applying female voices ensures that women's experiences, perspective, and stories are authentically represented. Therefore, this theater becomes more inclusive when it reflects the diversity of society. Then, if women's voices need to be, amplified, then we need to challenge stereotypes. It will help challenge stereotypes. When women control their narrative, they can dismantle harmful stereotypes. Things like women belong to the kitchen, women cannot be at the forefront of events, maybe at workplaces or, religious places and so on and so forth. These stereotypes will be challenged. Women will tell their own stories, and they can dismantle harmful stereotypes and present complex, multidimensional characters that reflect real life experiences. And there will also be social transformation. Theater has the power to influence public opinion. So if women are allowed to tell their story through theater, people can hear them and people can listen to them, and there will be social transformation. Female-centered narrative can address issues such as gender inequality, such as domestic violence, such as reproductive rights and career struggle, thereby fostering societal change. And then women voices can also, if women voices are amplified, women will be empowered more. The government will see them and be able to, or we read their work or watch their performances or hear the narrative and be able to empower them. And there will be agency. It will provide women with opportunities in playwriting, for instance. There will be funding from the government, and it will also provide them with opportunity in directing, in acting, production, empowers them economically, intellectually, and creatively. Now, what are the challenges that are facing women in the theater? I will later discuss my own challenges, my own experiences as a female writer. Now, what are the challenges facing women in the theater? There are several challenges, some of which are gender bias and discrimination. Most men, up till now, since, for instance, let me use myself as an example right now. When I began this theater practice, especially in academic, because I'm a lecturer and I practice in the university environment, working with students, and there are also colleagues. As a young academic staff, trying to direct, a play or to write a play, it was easy. Yeah, I was doing the job, but there are some people who pose themselves as problem. Like, how can you be the one to direct the production? For instance, you want to direct a convocation play. There is someone up there whose area of specialization is not in play directing, who cannot even handle it as much as I, who studied directing, can, will come and say, no, it is not possible, because he is a senior lecturer. And because he is a he. Because he is a he, it is not possible for a she to direct. It is not possible for a she to be recognized. It is not possible where they are for a she to be at the forefront. I experienced that in most of my productions when I was still a young staff, until I stood up to them and asserted myself to say, no, this is my area of specialization. This is what I love to do. And this is an avenue for me to tell women's story, female-related issues, about gender bias, about discrimination, about marginalization, about rape, about whatsoever you can think of. And then as a playwright, being a female has given me the opportunity to write about women, about ladies. For instance, I've written Idabe. My Idabe will be going on stage in June at the University of Ilorin. Idabe, that's a Yoruba word, and it means circumcision. We all know what circumcision is all about, female genital mutilation. I wrote a story about that. Why would I not write a story about how many men have written about circumcision? Only women can tell the story of women. Only women can tell. We are the people who know exactly where the shoe pinches. So I wrote the story of circumcision and titled it Idabe. It will be going on stage. And then I wrote about Patiola, a play titled Patiola. Patiola is being staged across so many universities in Nigeria. As I speak, they are rehearsing Patola at Redeemers University. They are rehearsing Patola at EXU, that's Ekiti State University. They are rehearsing Patola in OSC. They perform Patola in my own university. They are rehearsing Patola everywhere, even in LASU here in Lagos. Patola is a play about a female, a lady who wants to become a king, not just because she wants to become a king, but because it is her right and it is the father's wish that she becomes the king. But the tradition of the land says she cannot become a king because it has never happened that a lady or a woman sits on their throne. And the story goes on and on. And I've written another play about, which is also gender related, Malokun, which is also a traditional play. That Malokun is also about a female goddess who is not recognized, whose voice is not heard by her husband, a human husband, unknown to the husband that she's a goddess of the river. The husband decides not to listen to her when she tells the husband, look, I want the environment to, although it's an environmental play, something on eco theater, but at the same time, it tells the story of women, how women are silenced in their husbands' houses, how they are not listened to, how the society see them, how they are being marginalized. It is because of this marginalization and gender bias that makes a whole kingdom, gets into trouble in Maluku. There are also other plays that I've written. I have been told that I have only 4 minutes, 4 minutes to finish. There's so many other plays. One which is remarkable is my play that I wrote, Ojebi Abioko Jebi, Guilty or Not. Guilty or Not was written when I had an experience in Akugba Akoko. One day I went to the markets and found a woman who gave birth in that market. She gave birth openly in the market, and there was no one to help her. Nobody, treated her. What is it called now? The placenta has not come out. She was there in the pool of her own blood. So I ran to her. I quickly told someone to help me carry her, put her in my car, took her to the hospital, and they were able to take care of her. Then on the 3rd day, I went to visit her. I went to look for her house and visited her. But unfortunately, I was told that she has gone to the market with a baby of just 2 days. What market with the baby? What happened? Then they said there's no thing she would eat. There's no food for her. There's no food for the family. And she has about 6 children. So I got to know that a lady who was just 29 years old already has 6 children. So I wrote a play about that, to create awareness of family planning. Who else would do that if I did not? So we women, our voices need to be amplified in the theater, in Nigerian theater, in African theater, in the world theater, globally. Our voices need to be, amplified so people can hear, also that people can know exactly what we're going through, and so that the society can become a better place. If women are allowed to write, to stage, to perform, and to, just like our Professor Irene Salami Agunloye is doing, you understand that the society will become a better place. As they always say, that if you train a woman, you have trained a whole city, you have trained a whole kingdom, you have actually trained a woman, a nation. Therefore, if women's voices are amplified and given opportunity to express themselves, to write, to direct, and the government also supports them in all they are doing. Because one of the reasons why women are not coming out or are not writing or are not publishing is because of lack of fund. If women can support, if government can support women, there will be no problem. There will be no problem. There will be a lot of issues that will be solved through their writings and through their productions. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Dr. Adumate. I hope we can all hear me. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you
so,
from my end,
Yeah, I
Tolu.
can hear you.
But you could be a little bit audible if that's okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Dumate. And that was straight, direct, and on point, right on point, itemizing and listing out so many challenges. And I like the choice of the word equity over equality. Okay. I'm sure that in the course of this discussion, we will expand a bit more on why Dr. Adubati decided to use the word equity over equality regards women participation in the theater. And of course, he has also used our presentation to underscore the importance of representation and visibility. Because, of course, she has talked about experiential it's the experience that can actually really share how they feel. Like the saying goes, he who wears the shoe knows exactly where it pinches. So a man, of course, might not be able to properly or effectively tell a woman's story. Thank you very much, Dr. Adumati, for that very insightful presentation, and we're grateful. I'm going to be bringing up Professor Olufumi Paramalam of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Again, he's back here with us, but for the benefit of the people just joining us who didn't, who might have missed her bio when I read it earlier, please, I crave your indulgence to read it again so that we can all understand who Professor Olufumi Paramalam is exactly. Professor Oluwafumilayo Justin Paramalam, MNI, is the Director of Studies at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPSS, CUNY. He's a distinguished scholar and practitioner in development studies, gender policy, peace and security, and leadership development, holding a PhD in development studies from the University of Leeds and an MA in international law and diplomacy from the University of Georgia, and a BA honor in French and Portuguese from the University of Ife, with advanced studies in France. At NIPSS, he has served as Institute Orator, internal and external examiner, and trainer for senior executives, mentoring participants through policy strategy and leadership courses and specialized workshops. He has contributed to national policy development, including legislative budgeting, participatory development frameworks, and national security strategy. Professor Paramalam has led and collaborated on projects funded by USAID, PSID, UN Women, Action Aid, and the Ford Foundation, presenting research on gender budgeting, women's empowerment, peace building, and human rights at national and international fora. As National Coordinator of Christian Women for Excellence and Empowerment in Nigerian Society, CWEN, he has spearheaded initiatives supporting survivors of violence, girls' leadership programs, the Safe Harbor Initiative for Victims of Gender-Based Violence, and the voice and visibility of women in peace and security programs across multiple states. Her work has been recognized with numerous awards, including the Ford Foundation International Fellowship, Cadbury Fellowship, African Peace Building Network Research Award, Evangelical Press Award, Women Achiever Award, and Women's Rights Defender Award. Through scholarship, advocacy, mentorship, and community leadership, he is committed to advancing the spiritual, social, and the material well-being of African women and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please welcome with me Professor Oluwafumilayo Justin Paramalam of the Institute of the NIPS, She's going to be speaking for the next 18 minutes on genuine peace through theater. You're welcome, Professor Olufunmilayo Paramala.
Thank you very much indeed for that very generous and warm introduction. A very good evening to you all, to everyone who is out there, all our listeners and viewers. I want to say thank you for being here to honor such a great scholar. And let me just begin by saying I am extremely privileged and honored to be making this, I will call it a critique because we are in the academia, of the work of somebody I consider a mentor, a big sister, a friend, and so many other things in between. So I'm really happy to be here, and I thank the Graduate Research Clinic for the honor done to me, and especially to Professor Irene in organizing this amazing honor in her outing in her honor. So I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So this is a tribute to an amazing woman, an amazing scholar, a mentor to many, many of us, and somebody who we consider a trailblazer in many respects, a scholar, a dramatist, a gender justice champion. I would like to tweak my topic a little bit by speaking specifically to issues around gender, power, and gender-based violence, and how Professor Irene has so geniusly, I would say, and very, very strategically woven these stories and these issues into all her work. So essentially, my presentation will critically examine the dramaturgy of Irene Isoken's Agunloye. Some say Salami Agunloye, but I would like to say Agunloye, within African feminist and womanist frameworks. And what I'd like to argue is that her work goes a long, long way in reconceptualizing what gender is all about, and particularly gender-based violence as a structural, discursive, and political reality, not just about interpersonal relations, but structural, discursive, and political. And I hope that I'll be able within the next couple of minutes to show exactly what I mean. And so my analysis is drawing on her major plays. One that I love so much is Sweet Revenge. So I'll just be taking some examples and providing some critical interpretations from her literary scholarship in these areas. So let me begin by saying that what some of us, and I think I've looked at some of the critics, and I find that what a lot of people, male and female scholars, find intriguing, satisfying, and impactful about her work is that it sits at the intersection of theory, theater performance, and social praxis, social action, so that you see woven within her literary genius, as I called it earlier, that element of deep critical reflection, raising social consciousness, but at the same time dramatizing the reality of the lived reality of African women, Nigerian women to be precise, and men as well, in the context of families, communities, and political spaces. And, the focus of her dramaturgy across board has often been on dismantling destructive narratives around patriarchy and structural violence, and always set within the context of African feminist and womanist theory. I find this particularly interesting because her work feels so real to those who live the realities that she describes. So to continue on from there, let me just quickly, briefly describe the main thesis of her theoretical framework. Like I said earlier, it revolves around African feminist and womanist theory. And, Prof's work essentially, consistently grounded in these theories, emphasizes gender complementarity. So her work is devoid of the antagonisms that largely trail Western feminist discourse. And she brings in a womanist perspective that emphasizes gender harmony, social justice, and women's agency in the context of their own realities. And these realities are what African women tend to have to navigate, particularly in societies where there's a transition like Nigeria between tradition and modernity. So in her work, gender is approached not just as a biology, male, female, but as a system of power relations. So gender is socially constructed, and that comes through very clearly. And she follows scholars such as Amina Mama to show that violence is understood as deeply embedded in institutions and cultural practices. That means violence is not just interpersonal. It's not about one man beating his wife or a father committing incest. It is structural, it is systemic. And I'll speak a little bit more about that in a minute. So she rewrites gender in Nigerian drama in several ways. First and foremost, she subverts patriarchal literary tradition, which has often been male dominated. She repositions women in particular as agents of knowledge, women as knowers, women who create and shape their own reality. And, this is a counter discourse, I would say, to male-dominated narratives. Her work represents what critics describe as a revisionist dramaturgy. And many of them have noted that her plays challenge the stereotypical portrayal of women as passive and subordinate, never speaking, always crying. I mean, look at African Magic nowadays. Instead, in her work, women emerge as intellectual and political actors, as women who are reconstructing their own identity, and by extension, they're reconstructing gender identity and gender realities. I love Sweet Revenge for doing that in a marvelous way. So let me take a deep dive into Sweet Revenge a little bit, as far as I can within the next few minutes. So in Sweet Revenge, you see the protagonist, Isosa, and her husband, Ogogo, in their marriage. And in their marriage, you can see that he's the dominant one. And initially, she's very constrained within the confines of typical African marriage, where she's meant to be subservient and submissive and, yes, sir, to everything, catering to his needs. And she shows very, very carefully, and I would say very creatively, that in marriage, even personal relations are political, because essentially marriage is about the wielding of political power, patriarchal power over women. And this comes through very clearly in the relationship between Isosa and her husband, Ogogo. So patriarchal power now becomes very well demonstrated as privilege that constrains women, but at the same time, it entitles men, and men hold on to it viciously. And that comes through in very many ways during the storyline. So patriarchy here is seen as a system of gender-based violence. Gender-based violence in the sense that even though there's no physical violence, it's invisible, normalized, and reified through culture and through religion, through the norms and the texts that justify it. And so through the life of Isosa, she gains consciousness through, for example, relationship with her friend Efe. We see her gradually gaining a kind of consciousness that no, this is not right. I can be somebody else. I can do something else. And so she finds her voice, she gains agency. And Efe typifies gender solidarity, collective resistance to injustice and oppression. A kind of proto-feminist consciousness is developing through her friend. And in so doing, she shows that women need each other to bring about change. And women can be their own best friends. She defies the narrative that women are their own worst enemies. And then again, you have some tension within the text. So she shows Mama, for example, and Mama is your pseudo-patriarch. She's your archetypical female mother who is always encouraging her daughter, just comply, just be obedient, just submit, just accept, no matter what happens, no matter the type of violence. You are a wife, you are a mother, you nurture your home. And so Isosa is navigating these two voices. Unfortunately for her and for all other women, she chooses to listen to Efe. You also have another person chief, I've forgotten his name now, but there's a chief who is a friend to Ogogo, and Ogogo is, you know, very, very supportive of the masculine idea of masculine dominance and control. And so he's there encouraging Ogogo not to give in and not to be weak. He has to be strong. He has to be a man. Don't say sorry. Don't apologize. Don't, you know, don't accept. So these inherent tensions and pushbacks reflect the various territories that women have to navigate. Let me quickly move on to other texts. So Sweet Revenge is also More Than Dancing, Idia the Warrior Queen. And in More Than Dancing, one of the things that comes through really well is this idea of political exclusion. And politics becomes a gendered space that excludes women from decision-making and from agency. But Isosa insists on finding her voice and asserting her agency, even in the context of politics. And so she demonstrates that women can be change agents versus the antagonisms of people like Mama, who want her to stay silent and stay shut in. Idia the Warrior Queen, another story I really love, can't go into it much, but it shows that violence is often invisible. And so we don't see it. We don't see that violence is in the culture, the religion, the belief systems that we often take for granted. And one thing that Idia does that is so marvelous is that she rewrites discriminatory gender narratives. It's a form of historical reclamation. She moves away from the histories of history. And she insists that it becomes her stories. She tells the story from a woman's vantage point. The literary genius of Professor Agunloye comes forth in the way her voice of her textual voice and resistance is given to all her characters. So her characters move from silence and they use speech as a tool of power struggle. These women's voices that come out are not just empty voices. They're not just gossip. They are voices of truth-telling. They are voices that give a reality check to the dominant male narrative, and they are voices of resistance. And then they are also voices of dialogic confrontation because they expose patriarchy for what it really is, not divine, not natural and normal, but a system of oppression and injustice. Before I close, I would like to just quickly mention that her dramaturgy exemplifies what can be termed as feminist praxis within the African context. And that is one of the most powerful aspects of her work. According to Agunloye, theater must not only reflect society, but challenge its inequities. This positions drama as an active agent in social transformation rather than passive representation. So her theater is ideological intervention. Her performance is a site of reclamation, of identity, of narrative, and of resistance. And she promotes cultural memory and sees politics as a resource where we tell our own story for our own daughters and for posterity. Not just politics as a resource, but even theater as a resource, using it as a political resource, a tool for telling women's stories. And there are two things I want us to quickly note, which go beyond the relational, and they relate to how we must address gender-based violence. The first thing is that anybody who is interested in promoting a peaceful, sustainable Nigerian society, anybody who is interested in promoting justice for men, for women, and for all, must understand patriarchy as an institutionalized system, just like racism, just like any other form of oppression. It is embedded in culture, in language, in religion, and in the very ways that institutions work, both in terms of the formal and informal rules. Also, violence, gender-based violence, takes the form of economic and political exclusion. So politics is a terrain that women and men of progress, he for she, must insist that there must be mutual and balanced participation to create and sustain gender power balance. Violence goes beyond the physical. Gender-based violence is often focused on in terms of incest, wife battery, trafficking, and these are important to face. But for change, for sustainable change, we must look to the societal, the cultural, and the institutional enablers, and adopt a multi-pronged approach. Finally, and this is my final slide just before I close, we must look at the role of language, the role of he-man language. If you look at our constitution, it's full of he-man language, he governor, he president, and a lot of Prof's work challenges this. And she talks about how language reproduces inequality, and we must insist on more gender equitable and gender equalizing language. She also talks about how societal norms legitimize exclusion. So we must be bold and courageous enough to challenge those societal norms, be they cultural, customary, religious, or what have you, legal, policy. We must be able to challenge and interrogate them creatively and constructively. And then finally, that politics is discursive, because politics, people use the language of politics to exclude women from gendered spaces. So in conclusion, and I'm very happy to bring this to a close, and I welcome a lot of discussion after this. I would want to say that Prof. Agunloye's central argument throughout her work, and this is consistent and persistent, highly recognizable, is that gender justice requires not only legal reform, but a radical reimagination of culture, of power, of identity. In other words, she does not simply tell women's stories. She shows the reality of women's lives, and she reconstructs the very stage on which gender, power, and violence are defined. I think her dramaturgy bridges literature and policy by demonstrating that gender justice requires transformation at the level of culture, institutions, and power and personal relations. And I think her work is indispensable in the area of theater and even social change, social action in general. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you, Prof, for blazing the trail for all of us. Thank you.
That was a very powerful presentation by Professor Olufunmilayo, Discipline Paramalam. That was very powerful. One thing that actually got my attention, which I think we should note, is her candid and explicit examination of Professor Irene Agunloye Salami's work, not as gender confrontation. It's not what situated or brought into discussions of gender confrontation, but of gender complement. I like that word, complement. I like that tag, which is that as against the Western idea of what discussing gender is, which of course situates Professor Agunloye's work, Irene Agunloye's work, nicely into what the African culture might be tolerant of until it begins to get a lot of spread into tentacles, until people begin to really understand this discussion, which means, of course, our work is not being confrontational, but of course, taking the tack of advocacy. She used the words such as mutual, such as balance. And another thing I like, if we pay attention, she did mention reconstructing gender, not just as a concept of man and a woman, but as a much, much higher concept of collaboration. This is a wonderful presentation by Professor Olufunmilayo Paramalam, and it's a very great also.
Thank you very much. Please, moderator, I just want to correct something, if you don't mind. You had introduced me as the Director of Studies at NIPS. I am the immediate past Director of Studies. I have retired from NIPS after 37 years of service. Thank you. I thought I should just make that quick correction. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we read in your bio that you were a director of studies at NIPS. Maybe the information we didn't have is that you have retired from service. We still introduced you like you were in the NIPSS. Okay, Great service you must have done, I know, from your presentation and, of course, from the general outlook. I'm sure when it's time to engage you, we will know, of course, everyone will see the stuff you're made of and why, of course, the NIPS is deserving of you. And I think they should give you another contract to return for another 10 years. You know, I'm sure it's a great law. All right, so let's take a break, a bit of a break now and relax. We are not going anywhere. It's World Theatre Day. So, what's World Theatre Day without some performance? What is it? What will it be like? It will be nothing. After all work and no play makes acting a dull boy. You can put your name in there. Okay. So, it is on that note, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues, welcome with me, we Dasola for Oriki performance, the performance of the Oriki of Professor Irene Agunloye Salami. So Oyin Dasola, over to you now. Oyin Dasola, over to you now. Is she with us? Okay. Is Oyin Dasola with us? Okay, so if I've been told that Oyin Dasola is not here with us. She'll join us later. Okay, I think that at this point we should take general questions and reactions. And let me lead. So prepare your questions, and I'm sure the chat box and everywhere. But I'll be taking these questions by voice. Pardon me because of my sight. I would have to bury my head in the computer to read your questions. So I'll take it by voice. But please, when I do take your question, I know that we might have to create illustrations and all that before we get to our question. It would be nice for the efficacy and the effectiveness of time that we should go straight to our question. You know, do your illustration quickly, get your questions so that we can get all the questions as much as possible answered. We're still expecting Professor Irene Agunloye Salami to join us. And of course, we'll also have Oyin Dasola do some performance for us later. And then, of course, we have a video highlighting some high points of the career of Professor Irene Agunloye Salami. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We still have a lot of things in the option. But now let's take questions, interactions, comments, and contributions. Let me lead. And I would put this to both speakers, both Dr. Adumasi and Professor Paramala. Now, I do like the fact that Professor Paramala has mentioned the breaking of the myth that women are enemies of women. Like we say in Yoruba, okay? However, I do have a theory or a postulation, maybe I shouldn't call it a theory, that if we will have a female president in this country, or if we will have a female leadership or female advancement anywhere, judging by the sheer mass population of women everywhere, which has been said that the ratio of man to woman is 7 to 1, 7 women to 1 man, right? So if we are going to have anything, all we need to do is have all the women support that woman, okay? And the woman emerges. Now, we've had these cases where the women do not emerge, despite the large number of women in any space. Doesn't this continue to really underscore the fact that women might not actually trust themselves to step into the shoes that we are projecting that they should step into? I'd like Dr. Adumasi to take it first, and then fire alarm will react to that, and then we'll take other questions. Okay, if Dr. Adumati is not, Dr. Adumati, are you here with us, man? Did you hear my question? Okay, I guess
I am here. I am here.
Okay.
I am here.
Okay, you heard my question, so please, could you react?
You can ask the question. Yeah. Come out and reflect. You mean the question you asked the other time? Is it the question you asked the other time?
Yes, the one I asked.
Sorry. I'm out now. Yeah, the question about security.
Okay. No. I did say that all we needed for a woman to take charge in spaces, judging by the sheer mass number of women as given to us by the statistics of population, is for every woman in a space to support a woman to be somewhere. And the woman will emerge. But if women have not emerged, that means the women in the population have been divided or did not support the woman. So doesn't this continue to underscore the fact that perhaps women also might, in the population, might also not be emotionally or mentally or psychologically positioned for all the positions of advancement that we're trying to create for the women in the society, especially in the theater and D2D society.
Are you there? Please, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
There's a lot of noise around me because I'm in the theater, but I believe you can hear me now.
We can hear you.
Okay, so you are asking, or you're saying that women, if women can support women, for instance, you gave an example of if a woman is supposed to be or is contesting for the position of the, president of the country, considering the ratio of women, which is women to men in this country, which is 7-1, the woman is supposed to win the election. You gave that example. Am I right?
Yes, please.
So you said that perhaps it is because women are not advanced enough, which is why perhaps their voices are not amplified. Is that what I understood by what you just said? Hello? Hello? Are you there?
Here.
Okay,
yes,
so is that the question you asked?
I'm not talking about amplification. I'm talking about if the voices of women will be amplified as much as the women want it. The sheer number of women should do the job. So if the voices are not being amplified enough, doesn't it mean that there exists some women that might be working against amplifying the voices?
So you are saying that some women may be working against those voices that are silent? Yeah, that's not an impossibility, but in most cases, it is a case of a man versus a woman, or men versus the woman, because there are very few women, at the top. When I say at the top, I mean, positions, for instance, in the theater, if we look at the ratio of men to women, I mean, in academics, for instance, we have more men in academics, in theater, than more women. And I'm sure from your experience, you know that I'm right. From your UI experience from other universities in Nigeria, and especially in theater art department, you will see that men are more than women. So how is it possible for a woman to, win whatever argument she's trying to have, or if she wants to become the director of a performance? Who is the woman that's going to go against her if she's the only woman there? The men are always the ones who would not allow the woman to get to the position or to direct the play, because now we're talking about theater, or who would silence the woman. In most cases, it is just a case of men versus women. It is a case of the male gender against the female gender.
Thank you, Dr. Adumati. Professor Paramalam, over to you. What is your opinion on this
Yes.
postulation?
Thank you very much for your very important question and the postulation contained therein. Actually, your question reflects what many people think, and I've heard many men raising this question, that after all, women are most in the population. How come they don't vote for each other? In fact, if you remember during the time when Sarah Jibrin contested for elections, she had only one vote. She had only one vote, and that was her own. And I remember a lot of male politicians took great pleasure in that fact. So my response will be drawn from sociological theory. In sociological theory, there's something called the psychology of the oppressed. And what does the psychology of the oppressed speak about? It talks about how systems of oppression work to persuade people who have been historically and systematically oppressed over centuries, to persuade them that they are less than, to persuade them to accept systems of dominance and control and incapacitation. And that is exactly why Professor Irene's work is so important, because she has shown and demonstrated very clearly how patriarchy has functioned as a system that has over centuries persuaded women that they deserve to be excluded from public spaces, from politics, from decision making, both in private and in private and public life. Now, how do we relate this to what you've just said? Consider a system like racism. Consider black on black violence in the US. You find out that most of the violence against black people in the US is committed by black people, apart from obviously the violence of the police. What we are saying here is that there is a system of oppression that has created internalized slavery. And that is why in Professor Irene's work, she's talked about critical consciousness raising. So in most of her protagonists' lives, you see that they come to a realization that they've been in bondage all this while. They've been slaves all this while. And somehow, through the solidarity of other women, they find their voice, they find visibility. So what we need today in African society, in Nigerian society, is this broad-based consciousness among Nigerian women, freeing them from the slavery of religion, the slavery of culture, customs, customary norms, and all the things put together that have persuaded them all the while that they're supposed to be subordinate, subservient, and basically invisible and voiceless. So this is the challenge, and it's the challenge not just for the women, it's a challenge for men, for women, and progressive men who realize that Nigeria is an eagle flying with only one wing, because only men have been dominant in the political space, and that is why we are where we are as a nation. Frankly speaking, in a big mess. We need to work as partners, and we need the voices, the perspectives, and the presence of women in public spaces. And women can work together. Women do work together. In the 37 years that I worked at NIPS, I found that women were my best allies. And so we need to give lie to the myth that women cannot work together. And I believe once women gain this consciousness, you will not see their break light, because they will come together and they will bring a difference. And it will be for the betterment of women and for men as well. So psychology of the oppressed, the pseudo-patriarchy of traditional women, and also the insistence of men who think that power and control is a zero-sum game. These are the issues that we need to tackle. And it's not just about women not wanting to vote for women. Finally, by the way, the population of women is not 7-1. That's a myth. If you go to the NBS, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, you will find that the population is actually more men than women. That's a scientific fact. The other one is just an invention of another patriarchal invention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Paramalam. I do know that there was a time, but when I find out that information, I'll bring it out. But let's. There are so many heads to these questions, but well, it's over to the floor now. And I see in the chat box that Professor Benedicta Daudu is saying thank you to Professor Oluwafumilayo Josephine Paramalam, for a beautiful presentation on the works of Professor Irene. And she says she absolutely concurs that our works resonate with and reflects the reality of most women within the context of our African patriarchal society, and therefore will always remain relevant. Thank you very much, Professor Benedicta Daudu. And of course, there is this tag, Techno KL5. I don't know who that is, but says many thanks, Dr. Adumati and Professor Paramalam. You have made my day. I am learning. These are comments that we have in the chat box. But if you do want to ask your question live, you can do that by a show of hands so that I can unmute you, or you can drop your comments in the chat box. While we're waiting for comments and a show of hands, okay, to ask questions, I do say that perhaps this is the case if the lion is a hunter and God has created the lion to hunt other smaller animals, which we will call prey, for food. And the lion decides to hunt a goat and kill the goat for dinner. I'm wondering, why will it be the lion's fault for hunting a goat or hunting a deer for dinner? Okay, so perhaps the make do we are we saying that perhaps men are hunters? Men are, well, perceived to be hunters. Men are aggressors. Men are leaders. Men are pushers. So if the male folk, because you did mention of the oppressed, because Professor Paramala mentioned the idea of theater of the oppressed, is it possible, therefore, from the making of the world, from the analogy of the lion and the prey, all right, from the making of the world, is it therefore possible to eradicate the oppressed from the face of the earth? You know, if we look at it realistically. So, putting that side by side with the discussion, is it therefore going to be a possibility to have the patriarchal nature of men so as subdued enough as required for female dominance? Let's put it side by side by the makeup and the constitution of the work. Let me ask Professor Paramalam to take lead on this.
Your question is a subject of a long-standing academic debate. I have written extensively on this particular topic. Well, let me not say extensively, but I have written on this particular topic. It's let's just take your analogy. The lion is created to hunt, but the lion doesn't hunt the lioness. The lion doesn't hunt its other lions. In fact, when the lions fight each other, it is over the lioness and her cubs. In other words, even the animal kingdom is wise enough not to turn in on its own. So by that simple analogy, you can see that it is the deer and the goat that the lion hunt, not the lioness. So the male lion in the human kingdom, if he is lion, doesn't turn on his lioness. Let me start with that. Secondly, the idea that the male is irrevocably and a reductionist theoretical framework to say that he's irrevocably aggressive and cannot control his own urges or himself. So he has to rape, he has to oppress, he has to dominate and control, does not bear out in anthropological studies. So there are many anthropological studies, for example, among the Samoa people by people like Margaret Mead, that have come across human societies that were matriarchal or matrilineal, and where the male were not necessarily dominant. For example, in ancient Egypt society, it was the men who did the cooking, and you can verify that because it's available, in the archives. So what we are saying is that male aggression and female subordination and subservience are sociologically constructed and learned. They are learned in the context of family socialization and cultural normalization, and they can be unlearned as well. And that is why you have certain societies that have come to terms and said, you know what, hitherto, for example, in Western society, I don't know whether any of us knew this, but in the 14th and 15th century, a man had the authority of the law to sell his wife and children in the open market if he fell into debt. And a woman who got married in the 14th century England lost all her legal personality, and her husband owned her and everything she had. That's not the case today, because people have realized that culture is dynamic and culture evolves, and so do human beings. So human beings are not essentially programmed to oppress each other. That is learned. The logic that you have, your question reflects, also says that countries that have military might, technological power, have the right to dominate, wipe out, oppress, and do all the things that they do to smaller countries. And we know how that narrative is going on the international scene. It's not accepted. And if it's not accepted between countries, it should not be accepted between persons. So we believe, and the great number of men who are progressive in their mindset, who are he's for she, who are good husbands, good fathers, and who do not oppress women, show that there is nothing inherent about male aggression. And if men are created to be strong, it is not to oppress, it is to protect. I think I'll just stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Paramalam. This is a very interesting debate. I wish we had all day. I would have given the analogy of Africa defined to Nigeria as the giant of Africa, where we take leadership position, fund relief things, send ECOMOG, send our soldiers to participate in ECOMOG. So the African nation taking us as a big brother, like the world power of Africa. Perhaps it can be said to be ditto for the United States of America. You know, we've had empires. We've had the Roman Empire. We've had other empires. We have the British Empire. One would say perhaps it's the American Empire out here now. But anyway, that's not really the subject of discussion. I'm sure a lot of people are looking at me like I'm a very mysterious human being. Well, anyway, I'm an albino anyway, so maybe I can be a bit mischievous. Please permit me to be mischievous. I see a comment from Charity Michelia. Thank you to all the presenters. We, the younger ones, are learning so much. Thank you. Techno KL5 still says again, I appreciate the GRC for finding our matriarch worthy to be celebrated and honored today. What you are doing today is not a mistake. You have made the right choice. Many thanks, Professor Hussein Isaku. Oh, okay. HOD, Theatre and Film Arts Department of Theatre and Film Arts Department, University of Jos. Thank you, Professor Saku. I had a student once whose name was Manuel Saku. He's still at the Department of Performing Arts and Music of Ajayi Crowther University. Very bright boy and intelligent. So thank you, Professor Saku. Okay, we'll take that break now and we'll continue this discussion because some heat is coming out of my laptop into my face now from Professor Paramalam and Dr. Adumati. Some heat is coming out, so I'm sure everybody is feeling the heat now. So let's cool it off with a performance from Oyin Dasola. Welcome on board, Oyin Dasola. Is Oyindasola here?
Yes, I am here. Good evening, everybody. I am so honored and elated to be part of this meeting. In few minutes, I'll be eulogizing Professor Isoken Salami Agunloye. Can you hear me?
We can all hear you. We are muted so that we can hear you.
Okay. Ire lo ni ori mi afire. Ire owó, ire ọlá, ire ọmọ, ire àìkú tí ń ṣe balẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀. Àìkú tí ń ṣe balẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ a máa bá yín gbé lágbé Elédùmarè ọba. Bó bá wọn lọ́gbọ́n kó jíire lò pọ́lé o. Bó bá wọn àrẹ̀sà kó jíire lò pọ́lé. Àní bí Professor Isoken Salami Agunloye bá ti jíire àbùṣe. Nítorí yín la ṣe péjọpọ̀ lọ́jọ́ tóní. Wọ́n ní obìnrin takuntakun ni, akíkanjú obìnrin ni, arẹwà lóbìnrin ni, ọmọ obìnrin wẹ̀ lódò, gbogbo ọkùnrin yóò wúkọ̀ ṣe. Wọ́n ní bí ò bá dẹ́yẹ ni kò ṣàjálè ẹni. Wọ́n ní kìyìn bí ológun ẹrú o. Wọ́n ní kìyìn bí olúwa ọ̀gbọ́n ìwọ̀nfà o. Àmọ́ kí n tó máa ń lọ, ẹ jẹ́ kí n kọrin yín náà. Mo ní ayé o, pèrègèdè ìwà ayé o, pèrègèdè ayé o, pèrègèdè ìwà ayé o, pèrè àtù àbà o, dẹ̀dẹ̀ ní rọ́kòkò lágbàlá. Àtù àbà òwe, ilé onílé ọ̀nà onínà òwe. Ó yá ẹjẹ́ adélé bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan, ẹ̀dọ́ nílé o. Ọmọ arókùn tayò. Ọmọ arókan tayò, ọmọ arókan tapẹpẹ ni wọ́n ń pò kí bàbá tó bí yín lé ọmọ gangan. Ọmọ ọlọ́gbọ́n idẹ, ọmọ àdó torí ògún wálé ayé, ọmọ àdó torí ògún wálé ayé o. Ẹ̀yin lọmọ àtìlẹ̀kẹ̀ àti owó ni wọ́n fi ń sọ̀rọ̀ nílé bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan. Mo ní ìlẹ̀kẹ̀ àtọwó ni wọ́n fi ń ṣe ẹ̀ṣọ́ nílé bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan. Ẹ̀yin lọmọ ẹgbẹgbẹ̀rún ènìyàn, ọmọ adára ju ẹgbẹgbẹ̀rún ènìyàn lọ, nítorí nílé bàbá yín ẹ dára bí ègbin. Àní mi ò mà rọ́mọ ẹgbẹ́ tó burẹ́wà rí o. Ìyí tó bá dúdú adúmáadán ni, ìyí tó bá pupa akúnmọ́bẹ́pọ̀ rẹ nílé bàbá tó bí yín lọ́mọ gangan. Ọmọ àfilẹ̀kẹ̀ ṣọ̀rọ̀. Professor Salami tó mòye. Mo ní àwọn iṣẹ́ takuntakun, iṣẹ́ ribiribi tẹ́ ẹ gbé ṣe ni gbogbo wa mọ̀ o. Iṣẹ́ tẹ́ ẹ ṣe, wọ́n ní playwright ní former president of Nigeria Association of Women Academics. Wọ́n ní gbogbo nǹkan tó máa gbé obìnrin lárugẹ, tó máa mú obìnrin takuntakun òun lẹ̀ ń ṣe. Mo ní lágbára Elédùmarè ọba ẹ ní tẹ́ ẹ ní tí, lágbára Elédùmarè ọba. Ta ló ṣe the warrior, the queen of Benin? Ẹ̀yin náà ni. Ta ló ṣe ọmọ ọ̀tàn? Ẹ̀yin náà ni. Modern dancing ńkọ́? Ẹ̀yin náà lẹ ṣiṣẹ́ ribiribi náà. Sweet revenge ńkọ́? Ẹ̀yin náà ni. Mo ní gbogbo iṣẹ́ ribiribi tẹ́ ẹ gbé ṣe nílé ayé, lágbára Elédùmarè ọba á túbọ̀ máa tẹ̀síwájú. Ẹ ò ní ṣàṣetì, lágbára Elédùmarè ọba. Iṣẹ́ yóò ní di iṣẹ́ oníṣẹ́. Àwọn ọmọ yóò ní dọmọ ọlọ́mọ. Ìran yóò ní dìran oníran, lágbára Elédùmarè ọba. Rírọ̀ nírọ̀ àdàbà lọ́rùn. Professor Salami Agunloye á máa rọ̀ yín lọ́rùn o. ẹ̀rọ pẹ̀sẹ̀pẹ̀sẹ̀ lójú omi àfòwúrọ̀ pọ́nrí a máa tù yín lára ẹ̀ ní ṣàṣetì lágbára Elédùmarè ọba mo ní lọ́lá ọ̀kan ayé èèyàn ò ní kan lọ́lá èjì wọn ní jí yín gbé lọ́lá ẹ̀ta ayé èèyàn ò ní ta lọ́lá ẹ̀rin ẹ ò ní rìn lọ lọ́lá àrún ẹ ò ní rún lọ́lá ẹ̀fà gbogbo ohun tó dáa tó dáa tó dáa tó dáa tó dáa lẹ máa fà wálé lọ́lá èje òrè méje 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 lọ́lọ́run Elédùmarè a máa ṣe fún yín lágbára Elédùmarè ọba mo ní lọ́lá ẹjọ́ ẹ ò ní rógún ẹjọ́ lọ́lá ẹ̀sán ẹ ò ní sánkú lọ́lá ẹwà owó awá ẹ̀yin wá ọlá awá ẹ̀yin wá ìrí awá ẹ̀yin wá lágbára Elédùmarè ọba. Kí n tó máa lọ mo fẹ́ kẹ́ fẹsẹ̀ rájò díẹ̀ mo ní ẹ̀jẹ̀ òjò ẹ̀jẹ̀ òjò Professor, I'm sure you are dancing wherever you are. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ òjò ẹ̀jẹ̀ òjò Professor wa òjò látàná ẹ̀ ó yá wẹ́lẹ̀ pa mí láyò irọ́ irọ́ ńlá wẹ́lẹ̀ pa mí láyò irọ́ òrọ́ láyò mi ò àtijọ́ ayọ̀ mi àtẹ̀sìn ó di gẹ́lẹ́ ti gẹ́ ó di gẹ́lẹ́ ti gẹ́ nítorí mo mọ̀ wípé gbogbo àwa tá a wà ń bì àbí ọ̀pọ̀ àwa tá a wà ń bì theatre practitioners ni wá ó wá lórí nǹkan tá a máa ń fẹ́ràn tá a máa ń gbádùn gidi gan mo ní èpò bíríkì orí ẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ àgóyà àgóyà o ìtàkùn nínú igbó àgóyà ìbà aráyé olùmọ̀ràn ti pé ọ̀rọ̀ kan ló máa délẹ̀ mo fẹ́ báyé sọ.
Thank you very much, Oyindasola. Thank you so much. I wish I could let you keep going and going and going, especially that place where you are going. If we go there, you not come back. So maybe just right after the entire thing, after the vote of thanks, maybe I'll bring you back to go to this place exactly as you want to go there. But right now, I'll say thank you very much, Oyindasola, for that very insightful and power-packed performance. Lovely voice, lovely chant, lovely flow, melodious and scintillating. Ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on quickly, and I know that there are mentees, students, staff from the University of Jos here. They are saying, thank you very much. She's our mother. Thank you. She's our mother too. Oh, we love you too. It's when, they say that failure is an orphan. Success has many people. So you are trying to claim her. Thank you. We know you are just taking care of her for us all. So permit us to share her today. You people in the University of Jos, Esheo. Dr. Adumati, thank you for saying congratulations to our own dear Professor Irene Agunloye. And of course, Patricia Law says congratulations to Professor Irene Agunloye for your hard work and for allowing yourself to be an inspiration for generations of artists. You have indeed served your purpose in life. Professor Benedicta Daudu, the meaning of Okpeyemi's rendition is so powerful. I suggest it be interpreted to Prof. Irene. I say amen to the prayers. And of course, Professor Sako says, spectacular oral performance that resonates the theater in me. I am mesmerized. Thank you again, GRC, for organizing this, Professor Hussaini. Okay, I see that there is this is a tongue twister. Owajogak and Nobi. Goodwill message in honor of Professor Irene Salami Agunloye. Okay, this is a long one. Let me see if I can quickly take it. Distinguished guests, colleagues, and fellow scholars, on behalf of the Pioneer PhD cohort, I am deeply honored to offer this goodwill message in celebration of Professor Irene Salami Agunloye on this special occasion of World Theatre Day 2026. Today, we celebrate an exceptional scholar, a visionary leader, and a passionate advocate whose work has profoundly shaped gender and women's studies and the transformative power of theater in our society. To us, her students, she is more than a professor, she is a mentor and a trailblazer who believed in us, nurtured our voices, and showed us how scholarship can drive social change. The theme, Gendering Theatre, Gendering Peace, truly reflects the impact and the legacy she continues to build through all of us. Ma, we are proud to be your students. We celebrate you, we honor you, and we thank you for inspiring us to lead with courage and purpose. Congratulations and happy World Theatre Day. Thank you. Owa Jogak and Anobi, class representative, PhD pioneer set, CGWS, University of Jos. And Professor Fumi Paramalam says that was a beautiful Oriki. It should go beyond this forum and be performed publicly. Yes, 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 it should be. We will go to the studio and record it, and I'm sure Professor um, um, I think Professor Paramalam would be the first to donate towards the studio funding so that we can enter the studio. I see a goodwill message, a tribute in honor of Professor Irene Isonke Agunloye, but I'll come back and read it from Okpeyemi, very long one. But I will do this. Please permit me first to take the bio of the honoree today, Professor Irene Salami Agunloye Salami. Please, I'd like to get on video to do this so that everyone can see me. Yes, I'm sure we can all see me. Professor Irene Isoken Salami Agunloye is a distinguished Nigerian playwright, scholar, and academic leader whose work has reshaped the landscape of African theater and feminist dramaturgy. She earned her degrees from world-renowned institutions, a bachelor's in theater arts from the University of Jos, advanced study at University College London, and postdoctoral fellowships at the University of California, Los Angeles, where she deepened her engagement with theater, gender studies, and performance practice. Over her long and celebrated career, she has taught, mentored, and inspired generations of students, serving as the first female head of the Department of Theater and Film Arts at the University of Jos, and is the pioneer and as the pioneer director of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies. Through her leadership, she has nurtured some of Nigeria's most articulate feminist theater practitioners, creating spaces where learning, creativity, and critical engagement thrive. Professor Salami Agunloye's scholarship is both influential and widely recognized. She has authored numerous journal articles and book chapters and edited seminal anthologies, including African Women, Drama and Performance, and Women, Performance and Politics. Contemporary Perspectives. Our work blends critical scholarship with creative practice, addressing themes of gender, identity, leadership, and social justice. She is recognized internationally through prestigious fellowships and awards, including the Fulbright Scholar Program and the International Women's Leadership Forum, as well as specialized leadership training at Harvard Business School, INSEAD, and the University of Denver. These experiences have enhanced a global perspectives on leadership and women's empowerment, which she has brought back to her teaching, mentorship, and creative practice in Nigeria. As a dramatist, Professor Salami Agunloye is a powerful voice in contemporary Nigerian theater. Her feminist dramaturgy boldly reimagines how women are seen, heard, and understood in both dramatic art and society. Through plays such as Idia, the warrior queen of Benin, Sweet Revenge, and More Than Dancing, she re-examines history, challenges patriarchal norms and foregrounds, African women's stories, portraying them as resilient leaders and agents of change. Her theater does more than entertain. It is a site of ideological resistance, social critique, and transformation. Beyond her scholarship and creative practice. Professor Salami Agunloye has been a visionary leader in academic governance. She has served as president of the National Association of Women Academics and on several institutional boards, bringing the academy and society using theater and performance as tools for public education, community engagement, and societal transformation. Through her teaching, publications, fellowships, leaderships, and creative projects, Professor Irene Salami Agunloye has profoundly influenced African theater, championed gender equity, and inspired generations of scholars, artists, and audiences alike. Today, we celebrate a dramatist and scholar whose aesthetic vision elevates female agency, reframes history, and invites audiences to imagine a more just and equitable society, reminding us that theater is not merely entertainment, but a powerful platform for truth, resistance, and transformation. She is a teacher, a mentor, a theater practitioner, a lecturer, a woman, a mother, grandmother, and truly a national asset. Ladies and gentlemen, the honoree and our celebrant for today is Professor Irene Salami Agunloye. Might I have your applauses on the screen, ladies and gentlemen? And it is on that note that I present to you. We have a small video to highlight the high points of Professor Irene Isoke Salami Agunloye. Shall we have the video on the screen, please, ladies and gentlemen? Can we have the video play now, please?
Yeah, I'm working on that, so give me a second, please.
Yes, please. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, while the video is being worked on, let me attempt to read. Let me see if I can quickly find that. When the video is ready, please let me know. I'll attempt to read a tribute from Okpeye. Okay, I think this is from Professor Usaini Yu Saku. I'll attempt to read it, but I don't know if I can finish it. A tribute in honor of Professor Irene Isoke Agunloye. We are all gathered today to celebrate an academic par excellence, a fantastic and humane scholar of immeasurable repute, a gentlewoman, a wife, a mother, grandmother, mentor, erudite scholar, and a trailblazer who has written our life in the sands of time. Her contributions to the growth of the academia have shaped theater and redefined the discourse on gender and women's studies within and without, which has earned her a global recognition as a gender advocate and writer of great repute. As a visionary and pioneer director of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies, University of Jos, Prof has mentored and produced numerous scholars at both master's and PhD level. Prof has mentored many scholars, including me. My academic odyssey and memoir cannot be complete without the mention of Prof. Irene. Prof is a heroine, a quintessential scholar who made sacrifices for some of us to be where we are today. On behalf of the Department of Theatre and Film Arts, University of Jos, I sincerely appreciate the Graduate Research Clinic and other organizers of this program for finding her worthy to be celebrated and honored at this material time. What you are doing today is not a mistake. You made the right choice. Congratulations, our matriarch. Ponder over this quote. If you would not want to be forgotten as soon as you are dead, then either write something worth reading or do something worth celebrating. Professor Hussein Yu Saku, Head, Department of Theatre and Film Arts, University of Jos. That's a tribute from Professor Saku, the head of the department, I guess on behalf of the Department of Theatre and Film Arts. Congratulations. Let me see. I have some very interesting goodwill messages here. Please let me know when the video is ready as I take the goodwill messages here, because immediately after the video, we'll take the vote of thanks and we'll call it a day, and then we'll open it for interactions and departure. Except, of course, Professor Irene gets here before that. Is the video ready now?
Theatre, Elevated Women's Voice. You're welcome once again to the Graduate Research Clinic Night Roundtable Series in honor of Professor Irene Salami Agunloye. Today, we are deeply honored to host and celebrate an extraordinary woman and scholar. No doubt, her work has shaped Nigerian theatre, elevated women's voices, and inspired countless students, artists, and audience. Over the years, Professor Irene, through her scholarship, creativity, and leadership, has made theatre a space for learning, empowerment, and social change. Her impact goes far beyond the stage and classroom. It touches lives, communities, and art. What you see next is a compilation of moments from her career. It is just a glimpse of her activities and impact as a scholar. While these images cannot capture the full depth of her contributions, they serve to bring back beautiful memories. A remarkable contribution, the joy, inspiration, and wisdom she has shared over the years. We celebrate you, Professor Irene Salami Agunloye, a true pioneer, mentor, and inspiration to us all. Enjoy the slides.
Gbàdúrà fún mi, bàbá mi máa ṣeun rere, gbàdúrà fún mi. Tọ́mọdé bá hùwà burúkú wá níyá rẹ̀ lóko. Tọ́mọdé bá hùwà burúkú wá ní bàbá rẹ̀ lóko. Ìyá mi fọ̀nà tó dá mi láyé, bàbá mi fi wá tó dá mi láyé. Ayé tí mo wà yìí kò máa yé mi o. Ẹ̀yin ni Ọlọ́run kejì mi láàyè. Ìyàwó ẹ̀ ṣeun rere, ìwà dára. Bàbá wa ẹ̀ ṣeun rere, ìwà dára.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's a short video put together, slides of the highlights of Professor Irene Salami Agunloye's career. Now, Tino Adeoye Bode says, congratulations and thank you, Professor Irene Agunloye, for the pioneering and continuous work you have done and continue to do in the intersect of gender and theatre. More grace and strength to you. Amen. I celebrate you. Angela Olofu Adeoye, an amazing evening to you all. What an awesome evening it has been, celebrating a cerebral scholar in the person of Professor Irene Agunloye. Your intellectual legacy has been socially responsive and unapologetically transformative. You have been true to your calling as a justice champion and advocate of the general good of all. It is a great honor to not just know you, but associate with your person. Congratulations, Ma. More wins. Dr. Angela Olofu Adeoye. And of course, Okpemi Michelle says, We are all gathered today to celebrate an academic par excellence, a fantastic and humane scholar of immeasurable repute, a gentlewoman, a wife, a mother, grandmother, mentor, erudite scholar, and a trailblazer who has written her life in the sands of time. Her contributions to the growth of the academia have reshaped theatre and redefined the discourse on gender and women's studies within and without, which has earned her a global recognition as a gender advocate and writer of great repute. As a visionary and the pioneer director of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies, University of Jos, Prof has mentored and produced numerous scholars at both master's and PhD levels. Professor Irene, through her many plays, advocates for gender equality and complementary in the face of patriarchy. Sweet Revenge, Idia the Warrior King, the Warrior Queen, Emota, the Queen Sisters, among others. She has deconstructed and reconstructed patriarchy at local and international levels in one of her historical plays titled More. Angela Lofu Adeoye says again, bravo to the entire team at the Graduate Research Clinic for celebrating our matriarch. May you be celebrated too. Many thanks to Okoyemi for eulogizing Prof. Irene. It was beautiful and hits every fact of life and person. Okay, Charity Michelle again. Congratulations once again, Professor Irene. You are an inspiration to me, especially. And I am proud of you, a mother, mentor, and leader par excellence. Okay, so great to have been here. Before we take the vote of thanks, let me say this. Well, I will return for the closing and the parting shot, but let's take perhaps Toby Adewumi would like to say a word in a minute about the Graduate Research Clinic for a lot of people who might not really know what the Graduate Research Clinic is about. Perhaps a 60 seconds comment about the Graduate Research Clinic.
Great, thank you so much, Tolu. A quick update. Dr. Irene will be joining us shortly. She's been having connection issues, and so we would add her through my phone if she's not able to join via Zoom. Just wanted to put that
Okay,
there.
that's fine. That's
Now, the
fantastic.
Graduate Research Clinic is a multidisciplinary, transnational, and intergenerational network of graduate students, early career researchers, and senior academics spread across institutions in Africa and the African diaspora. This event we're having today is a clear metaphor of what the Graduate Research Clinic represents: people across all disciplines, across all generations, and across all spaces, talking about the things and matters, issues that are important to them. And that's why we are one of the leading youth-led organizations in Africa, driving conversations around changing the way people view academics. Academics sometimes is seen as for the learned alone. Academics is often seen as just something you do by the side. But now we are beginning to center conversations we are having in the classrooms as they affect society. So we will be dropping a link if you're interested in joining what we do. We would like you to please join us and engage us. We want to see how we can participate in what is happening on campuses across the country. We want to be able to collaborate with you on events you may have coming up, and more importantly, to be able to build a capacity of emerging scholars. Just like Dr. Dumati and Professor Paramalam have mentioned, there is an urgent need to empower the next generation of scholars who will be taken after Professor Irene Agunloye, and we want to be at the forefront of that. So that is what the GRC does ensure. But we'll say keep on the lookout to see events that will be happening for the rest of the year, which will center around conversations about the work of amazing scholars like Professor Irene Agunloye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toby Adewumi. Can we then have Professor Irene join through your phone, because we are going to the vote of thanks. While you are doing that, let's see if we have another Goodwill message. Ouch. Okay. I think we have another goodwill message here. Right. Agunloye to join us because that's what we're waiting for before we take the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to take the vote of thanks and closing remarks, but we are trying to see if we can hold on for the honoree to say a few things. She's presently not in the country, but she's seeing whether she could really join us and be with us today. Okay. I know that Mr. Boluwetife Ogungbemi will be taking the vote of thanks, so please stand by. Toby will let me know whether Professor Irene Agunloye is ready to join us. But meanwhile, there is Oketon of Olake saying, on behalf of the set 2024, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to Professor Agunloye for her outstanding leadership and dedication as the past director of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies. It is a privilege to have been among the last set admitted and personally taught by you before your sabbatical. Your passion for gender scholarship, commitment to excellence, and unwavering support have left a lasting impact on our academic journey and personal growth. We are especially grateful for nurturing the department to where it is today and for pushing us to become better gender advocates. As we gather in your honor, we celebrate not only your remarkable contributions to the center, but also the inspiration you have instilled in us to pursue knowledge, advocate for equity, and create meaningful change in society. Wish you a fulfilling and enriching sabbatical and look forward to the continued legacy of your work. Thank you for being an exceptional mentor and leader. From CGWS Set O of 2024. Toby, are we ready for the honoree?
Yes, she is with us right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have read her bio before, and a lot of us do know her. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me for her comments, her remarks. Here, the honoree today, our own dear iconic matriarch, Professor Irene Isoke Salami Agunloye, as she speaks with us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Let me see your applause on the screen. Prof, you're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm trying. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay.
We can hear you, ma. We can hear you, ma.
Good afternoon. I don't know what is wrong with the screen. I've had so much problem trying to get on this screen. Can you see my face? Okay.
We will make do with your voice, ma. It is lovely to hear your voice. Very inspiring.
Thank you so much. It's been a very, very hectic day for me, but I struggled and struggled just to be here for you because I really want to say thank you to everyone for being able to make it to this program today. Thank you so much. I actually do not know what to say, but just to say that thank God we are all alive today. It's been, in fact, I'm not home. I'm just, thank you so much. That's all I can say for now. Thank you very much. Thank you. If there's any question you want to ask, please feel free. I'll answer. But honestly, I don't know what to say because if you know what I've been through trying to get online, it's been hectic. Thank you. I can see my face on the screen, but can you see it?
Yeah, we can see you very clearly, Prof. Ma. I think Tolu didn't see you at first, but we saw you the first time you joined.
Okay.
But so sorry, this is not my real picture. So don't go on my face. It's old woman. It's just the way I left home. It's
Yeah,
not my
no,
real picture, but
yeah,
Okay,
well, thank you.
thank you
yes,
very
ma.
much, ma, for joining us, and it's been inspiring hearing, interacting with your work. And Professor Paramalam, Oluwafumilaya Paramalam did make a presentation the other time, and she seriously highlighted the idea of mutual balance in your work, gender complement, and reconstructing gender. And these are words that people have used in your honor today, ma'am. And a lot of I'm going to get to read a couple of other what you call it now, goodwill message here. And I'm told that the director of the Gender Studies Center of the University of Jos would like to make a comment. We are way behind time, and I'm usually, because of people in different time zones and different places, we might not be able to take a lot of comments. I will use my discretion. I'm a stubborn albino, so pardon the stubbornness of my albinism. I will use my discretion to take the director for Women Studies Center, and I think that's of the University of Jos, right? I will take that comment, and I will take two other comments that I think Okwemi will highlight, Okwemi or Toby will highlight for me. I would be only be able to take those three comments, except, of course, well, don't let me put that exception, otherwise we will not leave here today. Let me take just three comments, starting with the director for Women's Studies Center, University of Jos. If she's online with us, please let her take the floor.
Thank you so much, our graduate research clinic. We're so happy that you have organized this on behalf of Prof and to celebrate her. I had written a very long tribute to her, but I will try to see how I summarize that. So on behalf of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies, University of Jos, we celebrate your unwavering commitment and years of dedicated academic achievements to gender studies and advocacy work on gender equality. So we congratulate you on this well-deserved recognition. From 2005, shortly after the Carnegie UniJos Partnership Program started, you, along with other female colleagues, formed the Gender Intervention Team and spearheaded the setup of a gender program, which was highly successful. One of the most important features of this program was the mentoring of young female academics and students, which a number of us benefited from. Since then, you have pioneered gender studies and gender reforms in the University of Jos, leading to the documentation of the UniJos gender policy and the publication of several books and edited works on gender and women's studies. You championed the establishment of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies, where you served as pioneer director, mentoring young female academics. You introduced academic component of the center, offering masters and PhDs in gender and women's studies. And today, the University of Jos boasts of the postgraduate degree in gender and women's studies, therefore becoming the first gender center in Nigeria to do so. You have raised generations of female academics through mentorship and sustained advocacy for female leadership in the University of Jos. Because of your continued advocacy for gender equality, the University of Jos today boasts of a gender-balanced management staff made up of 3 males and 3 females, which is very rare to find in any university. Being one of the oldest female staff of the university, you created the Senior Women Platform, giving women an opportunity to express themselves within their own space. You formed the Senior Women Prayer Group for women to continually pray for the management, staff, and students of the university. Your passion for women to succeed, to lead, and to advocate for the rights of women and girls cannot be easily put into words. Whenever you stood in any meeting to talk, it was mostly to advocate for women, to lobby for female representation, to give advice on issues affecting women, or to correct an impression about women. In fact, I can say that the name Professor Irene Salami Agunloye in the University of Jos is synonymous with gender and women. You have set the bar so high as director of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies, bringing reforms and innovations to the center and the university. And we look forward to seeing future directors of the center emulating you and moving the center forward. As the world honors you today, I would like to specially thank you for giving yourself, for giving your time, for giving your voice, and for giving your intellect to all the women in the university that you have touched in very special ways, and to all the students you have mentored and graduated during your time as a director. So on behalf of the staff and students of the Center for Gender and Women's Studies, University of Jos, I heartily congratulate you, Professor Irene Salami Agunloye, for your immense contribution to scholarship on women. And we also wish you God's blessings for the rest of your academic journey. Many thanks also to the Graduate Research Clinic once again for honoring Professor Irene Agunloye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our dear director. And that's the only comment I'll be taking physically. I have known there is this comment, Elizabeth Reem Dance. I have known Professor Irene Agunloye in many notable spheres, and I've held her in high esteem for cogent reasons. It is a pleasure to today see her theatre arts side. Wishing her many more productive years. Well done to Professor O. Paramalam. As always, you bring such light on gender issues in our nation and beyond. Well done also to all who organized the event. Elizabeth Dimka Ringdance, Board Chair, Christian Women for Excellence and Empowerment of the Nigeria Society. And of course, Dr. Ulan Jatau says, congratulations, Prof. It's glad to hear your voice, Prof. Very glad. I'm very delighted to hear her voice. I didn't know. I'm wondering why Professor Irene Agunloye didn't think of a career in radio. She would have sounded very nice on radio, you know. Yakubu Yao says, let me use this medium to congratulate and appreciate one of our own, a mother and a mentor, Prof. Mommy Irene. That's a new title. Prof. Mommy Irene, for impacting in my life. And in fact, my academic history will never be completed without mentioning your name. May Lord continue to bless you and reward you abundantly. Yao Yakubu, doctoral student, CGWS, University of Jos. Ladies and gentlemen, it is on that note that I say that the key takeaway for us tonight, this evening, here is that a behavior is learned through social structures and social engineering. It can also be unlearned and a better behavior relearned, as postulated by our own dear Professor Oluwafunmilayo Josephine Paramalam. That is the key takeaway for our patriarchal society, that we can unlearn it and relearn a better inclusion of women for a better society. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with us. On that note, I welcome Mr. Boluwatife Ogungbemi for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tolu Fagburi. Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me, please?
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Thank you so much. Okay, fine. On behalf of we at GRC, Global Research Clinic, we want to say a very big thank you to everyone who has taken it out of their time to join us to honor, just as we have all said, a mentor, an erudite scholar, and a woman of quality, and who has dedicated numerous years to not just scholarship, but scholarship that is objective, scholarship that is also theoretical and practical at the same time. So we want to say, first, permit me to also thank our panelists, starting with Professor Oluwafunmilayo Paramalam and Dr. Mrs. Abiola Adumati. Pardon my pronunciation, please. Thank you so much for the engaging conversations. I must say thank you for the questions you started with, Dr. Abiola, about if theater is a mirror, which face has it mirrored or blood? And if theater is a voice, whose story has it, or action, has it brought to limelight or has it trapped down? And thank you also, Professor Oluwafunmilayo Paramalam, for taking us through Sweet Revenge, especially for some of us who have not seen the play. I guess for me, I would go see it and ruminate on everything you have said too. And thank you for taking us through gender balanced and how okay, your comment, man, just your comment now. That's Tolu, you should read that, please. Then your gender-based violence as structural, discursive, and political. And I must also say thank you for dealing with the question Tolu asked on the lion question. It could only take somebody who is experienced and somebody who is critical with feminist ideology on the positive side and not on the extreme side to have answered that question. And to everyone at the back end too, let me also thank Okpeyemi, who has been working on the ground with the panelists and the moderator to make sure that this program is a success. Thank you so much. And again, to our lead, to our team lead, that's Mr. Toby Adewumi. Thank you also for the leadership and thank you for the visionary leadership too. I guess that if you are not the brain behind this, I don't know who else can do this so well and perfectly. And to everyone who has joined us, particularly from Jos, everywhere across the world, thank you so much. And just like Mr. Toby has said earlier on, and what we do in the GRC, I'd just like you to join our social media handles on Twitter, on X, on LinkedIn, and on our WhatsApp group too. I'm sure that we have quite a number of opportunities that we evolve from this roundtable series that we have just organized and looking at opportunities we can create for women in theater and even undergraduate students and postgraduate students also in the theater. So please just stay tuned and just as he has requested, if you have any suggestion, if you have anything we can collaborate on, we at the GRC are open to conversations, interesting conversation, in as much as they are impactful and they have a wide range of contributions to the society and to the development of Africa and the diaspora itself. So do well to think gender in everything you do. And so we all should come to the understanding that gender is not only restricted to a particular discipline, it cuts across all disciplines. So do well to think gender, do well to be gender responsible, and do well to be gender practical too. I wish us all an awesome rest and a good time as scholars and as researchers too. Please do well to take good care of yourself too, as health is wealth, and we wish you a blessed academic year going forward. Thank you, and we love you from GRC, and there's definitely nothing you can do about it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ogungbemi. As we wrap, I must read, since he has asked me to read it, so I will read it. Professor Funmilayo Paramalam's comment. Oh, I like it too. The moderator, Stubborn Albino, did an absolutely amazing job. Thank you, and thanks so much to the Graduate Research Clinic for a noteworthy outing. Can I see the applause on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, for that? Thank you. Don't forget that the Duke of, in the spirit of gendering theater and gendering peace, the Duke of Shomolu Productions is having two productions directed by two erudite theater scholars who are women. So let me see all the women go and buy the tickets now. They are doing Dora, a story of Professor Dora Akunyili, the late Dora Akunyili. So Dora is showing, directed by Dr. Toyin Bifari Ogundeji of OAU, and Kokoro, written and directed by our own panelist, Dr. Abiola Adumati, is showing this Easter at the Ajip Reciter Hall, Muson Center, Lagos, from the 3rd of April to the 6th. So I think one of the plays is showing on the 3rd and 4th, and the second one is showing on the 5th and 6th. Where can you get the ticket? Whatadeal.com. Whatadeal.com. I'll share the, I think it's a tad bit too late. We can't really share it now. But I'm sure that we'll find a way to get it to us. Just get to What a Deal, just as we hear it. Whatadeal.com and get your tickets. Or just reach out to Dr. Adumati. She will tell you how to get the ticket. So, women supporting women. Buy tickets with TVT. The ticket is not expensive. It's 10,000 naira regular and 25,000 naira VIP from the 3rd to the 6th of April, 4 and 6 p.m. Unapologetically women. 2 fantastic female directors directing our plays. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go home, don't forget, behaviors are learned by social structure and engineering, and we can unlearn them to relearn new behaviors for our society to do well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. My name again is Tolu Fagbure. My friends call me TF. My stubborn friends call me Afin, and I'm glad to have been here. The floor is open for interactions, if any, is open for tete-a-tete, and God bless you all. Bye-bye. So I think the interaction part is that you can unmute your mic and greet each other. So you can, it's like shouting across the room to one another. So now, so let's all, this is the time for us to now get into the party mood, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you, Professor Paramalam, for that.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Professor.
You, Mr.
Thank you, Professor Paramalam. Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor
awesome.
Paramalam. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thank you, and you too, ma. Another awesome lecture by you.
Thank you. We celebrate you, Professor Agunloye. Thank you.
Ma. Thank you, ma. So, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Okay, as everyone is saying goodbyes, we are saying hello to each other. I'm sure that Dr. Adumati is navigating rehearsal and navigating her phone. I don't know which one is suffering. Is it this one that is suffering or the rehearsal that is suffering right now, Dr. Adumati?
Thank you, everyone, especially my teachers, starting from Mommy, Professor Agunloye, Professor Paramalam, Dr. Angela, Dr. Samichit, and Dr. Chikas. I'm saying thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yao. We appreciate you. Thank you. You've been awesome. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Professor Chikas, if you're there, thank you. Bravo to you. This is as good as your own event too. Thank you so much for celebrating.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked.
Okay, thank you everyone for waiting to this time.
Okay,
I've been asked that we should all put on our cameras so that we can take a screenshot. Please put on your cameras or mute your cameras so that we can take a screenshot.
Can you excuse me? My own face doesn't really look. I wouldn't want the public to see this.
Okay. As much as everybody that wants to unmute their cameras, please unmute your cameras so that the admins can take a screenshot. Me, I cannot see the camera again. What's going on? Me and
Tolu, maybe you stick your eyes closer to the screen. We can see you.
the camera is not there now.
We can see you. It's you that you can't see us.
Tolu is standing under the sun. Maybe you need to go inside.
I'm inside, yo. That's another one. No, it's 2 now, Professor Paramala. No, Allah.
We love you, Tolu. We love you just the way you are.
Right.
Thank you so much. I love you.
Thank you, everyone.
We've taken the
Congratulations,
Thank you so much.
Congrats, mommy.
Ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank
you, ma'am.
Everybody has left. Your announcement came late.
Is Professor Fumi Paramalam still there? Okay, I'll call her.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I don't even know what to say. Village people didn't want me to be here.
They failed. They have failed again.
See the efforts. I've never seen that kind of thing. I used my 2 phones, my computer. No one will go. I said, village people. So now follow me. Come here.
I've never seen village people.
And they will
Don't worry, go past them. Go past them.
Pass them.
Go past
Thank you so much.
Professor Tinu, thank you so much, ma, for finding time to be here.
Is she still around?
Yeah, I can see her.
My in-law. How are you?
She's muted.
How are you? Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So do we have the screenshot? Did you manage to take one?
Yes, we did.
So when can I get the recording, please?
Okay.
Please, when can I get the recording?
I will call you shortly, ma. I will send it to you. Yes.
Opeyemi, thank you so much for that rendition. Wow. My head was just swelling like I was a celebrant. That was awesome. Don't worry, I will interpret to her, but I need to get the recording so I can do proper interpretation.
Okay. Thank you. I'm really grateful to everyone.
It was an awesome one.
Thank you. When I return back to Nigeria, I'll be able to thank you. By that time, I'll be feeling much better.
Amen.
Amen.
I wish there was a way we can serve refreshments on Zoom.
You can zoom it now. Via Zoom, just zoom it. Don't care how we are going to eat it. Just zoom it.
I just zoom it. Don't worry. Next time.
Has the picture been taken?
Next time.
Yes, ma'am. We've taken the picture.
So we can leave.
Yes,
well done. Kudos to you guys. You did.
Yes, the picture has been taken. The picture has been taken, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank
you. The picture has been taken, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Am I permitted to leave now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you. Opeyemi, I don't have your number. So please, when you call,
I think we will invite you to Jos, so you must come and perform that rendition in Jos.
Yes, when I come back.
Yes, ma'am. When mommy comes back, you have to come.
Okay.
Opeyemi, where are you? Are you here in the US or you are in Nigeria?
If I can answer on her behalf, she's in Nigeria. She's currently in Abuja. But the Opeyemi you're referring to is not the Opeyemi currently in the call. But we'll get that person.
Okay.
That person is actually Onyida Sola. She joined with another phone. But Onyi is within our network. We can always connect her with you and have you. That's what she does professionally. She's also a theater practitioner, so she'll be more than happy to come for an event.
So what of you? What is your name?
You mean me speaking? I'm Oluwatobi Lobama. Toby for short.
Okay, you are my Toby.
Yes, I'm your Toby.
Okay. Oh.
People should not be
Now I know.
personalizing
It's a
anybody.
good thing I asked
If you see
because
my
I thought you were
Tolu,
the
you should see my
Opeyemi.
Tolu.
Yes,
If you see my
Tolu.
Tolu, don't worry, I'll claim it for you too.
Okay.
Yes, thank God
Okay.
you asked. And I was just telling my colleague this yesterday. Usually when we work from the back end, people will not know us until we meet them in person. I'm sure if I had come to wherever you are now, you won't even know me because we've been
I won't know
interacting
because
over.
it's a different
Exactly.
imagination I had.
Exactly. That is what
When I saw
technology
your
does.
picture, I thought you were Somalian. Honestly, I thought
That's
you were from
interesting.
Somalia.
Well, they say Africans have double heritage. I know I am from Brazil too, so maybe my ancestors are the Somalian descent.
Maybe it's that
I
Brazil
don't
that's showing in your face.
But I'm authentically a Yoruba guy.
Okay. As I woke up this morning, one of my stitches just opened and was displaying. So that's why we
Oh,
had to rush to the hospital.
yeah.
And
When
you
you
know
said
here,
emergency, I was really concerned. But thank God everything
so
is sorted now.
Oh, madalla. Ya Allah ka taya mu kar mu dinga kashe
Yeah.
okay.
All right,
Okay,
ma.
then, bye-bye.
Yeah,
Let me
have
go
a
back.
nice time. Please.